Hey everyone, welcome back to the Above the Yellow Line live stream Thursday night on the Toby Christie YouTube, Facebook pages. Also, if you're watching on Twitch, hello, thanks for being here. We took a week off. Obviously, if you are in the United States, we celebrated Thanksgiving. Hope you all had a good time with family, friends, ate good food. But glad to see you all again here. I'm joined by Ben and Dom. So thanks, gents, for being here to chat some NASCAR.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
I know
great.
I've got not NASCAR gear on. Just have to celebrate the F1 champion, even if I'm not a fan. Just have to
Hey,
do
that's
it.
okay.
Sometimes
Yeah.
it's just priorities.
I mean, a dominant season. He won what? All but 2 races?
All but
season?
3.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. There we go.
Sergio
Yeah.
Perez won 2, and Carlos Sainz 4. Ferrari
That's right.
won Singapore, but Max Verstappen set about 5 or 6 different records in one season.
Which is insane.
And
I mean, you're not going to see that again.
His gap to second place was greater than the gap between second place and last place.
Which is wild.
That is nuts. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think we're going to see something like that again. Just that type of dominance. I mean, we could be proven wrong instantly. Maybe next year. You never know. But no, impressive performance this year by Max Verstappen. Whether you love him, you hate him. Red Bull, with their performance this season as a team as a whole, was also phenomenal. So yeah, I mean, I guess at this point we have the Snowball Derby to look forward to, the Snowflake, the Snowball coming up this weekend. I'm looking forward to it. This will be my first time surely watching both of them in full. So we can chat a little bit about that as well, of course, with Racing America being at the helm of the broadcast there. So really excited. But yeah, we'll have a special guest on the show in a few minutes. We have Ryan DeCosta working with the NBC social team, picking his brain a little bit about, the direction of social media and sports, how we got into it, of course. Kind of ironic, or I guess, ironic that, we had the TV deal drop. Of course, we're going to talk about that. And I know Ryan wanted to give some of his input at a high level about what that looks like, his thoughts on it. So looking forward to it. I see you all already have some great questions in the comments about the 60 car. We'll talk about that. RFK fielding a third entry for the Daytona 500. We have some questions for Ryan already, which is awesome. Who do we think will win the 500? That's already early predictions. Do we want to just do that one real quick? Just throw out a name?
Who in Daytona 500?
Because I like the prediction that Kyle threw out here.
I say Blaney does it.
Hey, I would love that.
He doesn't have a not sophomore, but after championship year slump. Why not?
And now you got me thinking, when was the last time the defending champion won the 500? That probably would have been 1999, Jeff Gordon.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
That would be my guess.
You're probably right. Dang. Ben's doing some research.
I'm doing it in my head right now. Yeah.
We got Kyle Busch. Yeah. Dang.
Kyle Busch that's a good pick.
That's a great pick.
Blaney. I'll tell you what, all he had to do was get an RCR car to be uber competitive on plates. Yep. So I had a feeling he'd do well. So, and if we ran scheduled distance, he would have been the champ.
Yeah.
Yep.
We got BJ McLeod. Brandon will win the 500.
Oh, don't do my man BJ dirty like that. He's working hard out there.
Oh yeah, here we go.
And he's also racing part time, so he ain't got nothing to lose now.
Oh, that's right, 2000. Okay,
2000.
I was a year off.
That's okay. We were close. Thanks everyone in the comments for coming through.
Yeah, just call me out. It's fine.
Like it's all good. Also cool. Ben in the comments met with Rob. Like it was like a weird just meeting. Wasn't that neat?
I was confused. I think I met Rob, and I was like, "Yeah, I met him," but
no.
I had to think about it for a minute. No, that's awesome. I love like fan interaction, or not fan necessarily, but I just love meeting the internet friends in the real world. It's the best feeling, truly.
Yeah. Good to see you all in the chat. All Sports Pass Podcast Northeast. Tony, good to see you in the chat as well. Yeah, so we have a lot to talk about too. I also like the new Toyota body. We're going to break that down a little bit. Some updates on some drivers. I know there's some opinions there. There are definitely some opinions. So we'll talk about that. What else? What else is on the docket tonight? Oh yeah, and also the NASCAR Awards banquet is tonight as well. Of course, it won't be aired. So it's going on, right? So
because Roots was, I think, yesterday night or the night before, and then tonight, I know Vargas is dressed up for, I assume, the trucks and Xfinity stuff. But
I believe Kurt Busch was giving a speech as we were going live. about his retirement.
My heart.
Yeah, I guess he like shed a few tears and he was really emotional. I was like, oh man, but yeah.
I mean, it wasn't his call, so you got to feel for him.
Yeah, truly. I feel like it's the first time in a while, I would say, but maybe ever in the sport, we've really had a retirement that's been that emotional, forced out early due to medical issues. I mean, Junior kind of puts in the same boat, but like this well known,
Could also say Gordon with his back, but I feel like that was more a combination of just I've had a good run.
Yeah, like Juniors and Gordons and Stewart's all felt like, okay, like this is my time has come. It's Master Yugwe or whatever from Kung Fu Panda. My time has come, and he
I love that.
Turns into a blossom tree, which is a metaphor, obviously not the same metaphor as retiring from racing, but it's there.
I love that that's the direction you took that reference because that's one of my favorite animated movies of all time. So
I really don't know why I picked that one. I haven't watched Kung Fu Panda. It's great. I haven't watched it in years. Also, I didn't realize there are 3 of them now.
The second one's the best, hands down. Really? It's so good.
That's interesting. I'll have to check it out.
Anywho, we'll stop talking about Kung Fu Panda for now. I'm sure we'll get into it later. Maybe, I don't know. It's such a good movie. But time to bring in our special guest. Of course, we have Ryan DeCosta joining us, a part of the social team, talking about his career and a whole lot more. Emmy Award winning, his team is. So we'll get into that, of course, probably right off the bat. So we will bring Ryan in now.
Hey everyone!
Hey,
hope you're having a great Thursday night.
You as well. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So, I mean, I'll just go right into it. Where do you keep your Emmy? Do you have it with you?
I don't have. Well, I have it at my house. I'm still actually trying to figure out where to put it. I'm planning on building a case and like display for it. It came sometime, I want to say March. It was still really cold. So being in Connecticut, that's March. It's still cold in March.
Fair.
So I'm trying to figure out where I want to put it, but it is pretty nice. I want to. It was one of those things where I go back to my first year at NBC, and all of a sudden seeing my name as a nominee for. The first time I was ever nominated was the NASCAR Throwback Special. We replayed the 2004 Daytona 500. It was Dale Jr.'s last year full-time in Cup. And all of a sudden I see my name as an Emmy nominee and I'm like, wait. I could get nominated for an Emmy for tweeting. And that was just this bizarre thing. And as everything has just progressed, we got that working the 2020 or 2021, depending on reality, the Tokyo Olympics. So it was an absolute blast.
Well, that's awesome. I feel like when we talk to folks that, work in NASCAR, a lot of it is, I've been a fan of the sport since I was born and working my way up. I've always wanted to work in NASCAR. Was that the same case for you? Were you always a fan, or did you just kind of find yourself kind of in this position as you worked your way through the ranks?
I've been, next year will actually mark the 30-year anniversary of me stumbling upon NASCAR. And I think the biggest reason is my mom, my family being Bostonians through and through. I was the one who was born in Maryland. So instead of hockey sticks and skates, I got Hot Wheels cars. And my mom knew that I liked cornflakes for whatever reason. And next thing you knew, I was playing with the cornflakes Hot Wheel. My dad's flipping through ESPN at the time, and there is Terry Labonte in the cornflakes car leading the race at North Wilkesboro. And I mean, that there's no easier way to get hooked than seeing a car you're playing with live on a TV screen. So I wasn't even 3 years old at the time, and that I probably don't remember every single detail. I don't remember that he won the race. I just remember always wanting to watch from there on out. So, yeah, I've been a race fan all my life. Did I always think that I would be working in racing? Probably not. I mean, in all honesty, I wanted to be a driver, but this is being able to be a part of the sport is, to me, just as good. I might not be a multi-millionaire or NASCAR champion, but it's still a really gratifying role that I think that all of us, including you guys, play in contributing to the sport.
I think, Dom, you can relate a little bit to, seeing a car that you've had when you were little with your whole story being on the screen.
Yeah, I was going to say, my grandpa used to build houses when I was growing up, and he would always take me to the Home Depot. And the first car I saw was the Home Depot car. So instantly, I was just like, oh my God, this is the coolest thing ever. But yeah, no, working with NASCAR now is amazing with the track content team. But I mean, I have to bring it up. Is that a Bill Elliott roof behind you?
That is. This is Bill Elliott.
That is so cool.
That is Bill Elliott's roof. I got that in 2017, around this time actually. So it was one of those like flash Black Friday like sales on one of those sheet metal Facebook groups, and it was on a discount for Black Friday, and I'm like, all right, this is my little treat yourself moment for completing my first season with NBC. So I came home with it. I actually drove out just across like the Pennsylvania line, so it was like a 3-hour back and forth drive. Brought the truck back, and all of a sudden I come home, my parents see me with a giant roof, and it's like, where the hell are we going to put it? And I'm like, I'll figure it out. We set up like a nice little rig, screwed it into like the studs on the ceiling, and it's been sturdy ever since. No problems. It's in really, really good condition for a roof. I want to say it's like the 1995 season, but I'm a dork like that, where I just will like, oh, Bill Elliott's like the shadow of his number was blue one year, so it's not that year. And
you fit right in with us then.
Yeah,
that's exactly how we're
absolutely. You're dead on. Yeah, I would be crawling all over the thing trying to figure out if I could figure out what year, what race, something like that. Yeah, that is so
I haven't figured out the actual race. But I know. I mean, honestly, I've got a feeling it ran in a couple of them.
Yeah,
probably.
So. Dang.
Nice.
That is such a cool roof. I'm a little jealous. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, that's so cool.
It is nice. It was a treat yourself. I don't have a ton of the only other sheet metal I do have is from my previous gig when I was working as a writer at. Working for Ness and Fuel. I don't know if you remember the Ness and Fuel. It was like Greg Biffle. He would run that car, or Matt Kenseth would run a car.
Oh yeah.
At New Hampshire or Watkins Glen, depending on like which one they wanted to choose. And my boss was just like, "Hey, I saw this. I thought you might be interested." I'm like, "Swipe." It's like that was before I think he even hit send on that message. I was already buying it. I think just some telepathically. We knew that was going to be purchased.
And you mentioned some of your past like work experience. How did you kind of progress to the role you're in right now? Like, what got you there?
That's a good question. So I did not expect to be working in marketing. I went to Quinnipiac in Connecticut for my undergrad, and I always wanted to be a reporter, whether that was either a reporter or an editor for the nightly news. If that progressed into a sports reporting role, so be it. But that's where I started. And NASCAR actually around the same time was opening up the position for production assistants to work for NASCAR Productions, creating videos for like hype promos for ESPN or the NASCAR.com Superstore. And so I took that, did it for the rest of the 2014 season. It honestly wasn't the right fit because if I'm being honest, I knew how to shoot an interview and cut some B-roll and do basic journalism, like, and you look at what, I don't know if any of you four have seen, or three, have seen the Trackhouse Racing video that they just put out yesterday about like
it's gorgeous.
Which was just, it's a mind blowing. If any of you haven't seen it yet, go check it out, because the amount of editing and time that took is something that even today I'm like, there's not a chance that doesn't take me like 2 months to actually finish editing. I have nothing but respect for the people who just create the Radioactives of the world and those types of really, really creative videos.
Yeah, I'll say from experience that some people just are able to know every fine detail of Adobe Premiere and can do incredible things with it. And then there's people like me where it's like, I know the basics, I can make a video, but I can't get creative like you guys can. Some things like that, it's just, I have infinite respect for what they're able to create.
But absolutely.
I guess my question would be, since I've been seeing it a lot on my side with NASCAR's track content, what is the message or like the attitude you want to bring to each race weekend with NBC? Like what is the message you want to get out with each race weekend?
That's a good question. I think it varies a little bit from week to week because we don't always have someone socially focused traveling to these races. So Phoenix, Indy 500 for the IndyCar side, the championship type weekends. Those are the ones that we tend to prioritize sending people to the track. But at the end of the day, I think that showcasing the driver personalities is pivotal. The quality of these races, and when we feel Dale Jr. going, look at this racing, this is amazing at Atlanta, then like you got to convey that enthusiasm and drive people to watch and keep that energy. And I think one of the things that's helped me is that I'm been watching this sport for a really long time, and it's gone through so many changes over the years, but there's still at its core, I think there's still a great racing product. I think obviously they're trying to work on the short tracks and the road courses, but what we saw on the 1.5 miles all year was just, I thought it was there were some jaw-dropping moments on the 1.5 miles. And I think if we can get some things adjusted by the end of 2024, once this whole new TV package comes in 2025, I think they'll be putting themselves in a really good spot to continue to grow as a sport. And I think that's just going to help NBC as well going forward.
No doubt.
I wanted to ask you your thoughts about the new TV deal. Sure. I know we talked about it a little bit behind the scenes, but just kind of giving a general overview of how you think this works, or how well do you think this works for NBC, or just even just thoughts as a whole with what that looks like.
Yeah, I think I'm really excited that that NBC is going to be continuing on with everything. That's phenomenal news. Someone joked to me it is job security. I love that, but at the same time, it is nice to know a full year before the end of the contract that we're not going anywhere. That's always a really comforting feeling. I do remember those feelings that we had when F1 went separate ways, or the NHL went separate ways. So to have something beyond that is phenomenal news. And then I think just as we're looking at streaming, yes, I think that there's probably going to be some pain points with the older audience, but I think that there's going to be new people coming in. And this is now, instead of having NBC and Fox being the only two to really promote the sport on a week-to-week basis, it should be expected that Amazon Prime, that HBO Max, Warner Brothers Discovery will be promoting this sport regularly throughout the 2025 season and beyond. I think it is pivotal during Fox's half of the season during this current contract, that we are part of the conversation, that we are contributing regularly. And so to have the amount of people really talking about the sport and having Bleacher Report and having these other outlets, like, I think that there's sometimes this vibe where it's like Fox and NBC are cats and dogs. And I don't think that could be further from the truth. I think we all realize that the rising what I forget the saying.
Rising tide brings all ships up, or whatever.
All ships. Yeah. Did I get it right? But I think sweet. There we go. Yeah. I think that that's just going to be beneficial to have a bunch of outlets. And I think that it's relatively consistent. I'm glad that it's not ping-ponging back and forth week to week. It's got a flow to it. That's something that I think, as we've got a full year to figure this out, right? And in some cases, we've got a full year and a half. We're really a full year and a half before anything really starts to feel like it's massively changing, save for practice and qualifying.
And you brought up like 3 points there that I really wanted to talk about, but even two, can you talk a little bit more about how this might affect, the social media side of NBC? Because I love what you guys do from a broadcast standpoint and from a social media standpoint, especially like I love your Tiny Mike videos. Like those are some of my favorite things in the entire world. Like you guys do such a good job showcasing the personalities of these drivers. So I guess with this new TV deal and kind of being split between different places, is that going to affect the content that the social team brings?
I don't think that it'll affect it too much. Yes, there will be, from a Fox or an NBC perspective, will that mean that, like, I'm trying to think of the right way to like phrase that, but phrase what I'm about to say, but I don't feel discouraged in any way, shape, or form. I think that it's one of those things where you've got to make sure that you're consistently keeping up with the sport, and whether it's on Fox, Amazon, or Max, I don't think that's going to change. I don't think that it should change, because at the end of the day, NBC still has the final 14 Cup Series races of the year, and we've got to be consistently there. Just to circle back to an earlier point, we've got to consistently be part of the conversation so that we absolutely cannot be come 14 weeks to go, whatever that month would be, early August, probably. Early August, all of a sudden popping up. It's like, we're here, NASCAR's back on NBC, and now we care. Like, no, we always care. And we've got a ton of passionate people. Just being at the wrap party before Phoenix Championship weekend and seeing all of the passionate people about racing. You see the Sam Floods of the world, who that name pops up a few times. The Jeff Bankeys, like Dale Jr. name drops these people sometimes in the actual broadcast, and they are just passionate people. And I think that even if they weren't, even if we were completely out of the picture, we'd still be watching this sport because we love it so much. And that's something that is going to be vital to the success of the accounts over an extended period of time.
And something you mentioned too, which I didn't think of until you brought it out, because I kind of see this TV deal, I see it as an overall positive, but I also can feel like we're being split in so many different directions. But you brought up a great point, and this is more people that can promote the sport daily, weekly, monthly. Absolutely. And I don't think I saw it that way, so I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, I think I was reading through what Steve Phelps was saying yesterday when they announced the deal, and talking about House of Highlights and talking about Bleacher Report. And like, yeah, in some ways they're competing. We're all kind of competing for those social eyeballs, but
right.
But at the same time, if Fox goes and posts something that goes super viral and it's a positive for the sport, we're not like, oh, damn it. Like, wish we were the ones who posted that. Like, yeah, of course, we want our numbers to be we want them to be up and to the right. And this year in particular, Phoenix, I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but they were way up compared to last year and the year before. It's just consistently been going up, especially I would say post-pandemic, every single year has just gone up in terms of engagement. And that's just a factor of emerging platforms. And you look at what tends to do well on a TikTok type platform or an Instagram Reels platform. And it's those tiny mic interviews or those stacks that we consistently like to do where you see maybe two angles or a driver talking it through a wreck. Those are those things that I think are just really stimulating, fast paced. Those are the things that do really well on those platforms. And so, yeah.
I had another question. I don't want to jump on toes. Dom, did you have?
I will just break some news right now. It was just announced for the 6th straight year, Chase Elliott is most popular driver. So that just came out.
Well,
Justin Allgaier won Xfinity, Haley Deegan won Trucks.
No surprises.
So yeah, just throw that out there. But no, I think
that
the one
reminds me, I got to put my graphic out right now.
There you go.
We're going to give you a second to do that.
We're all helping each other.
He's still on the clock.
But I'll say too, like, especially from your perspective, you were talking about how like the numbers were up at Phoenix this year, but I think a lot of that has to do with how good the race actually was. This next gen car, I mean, love it or hate it, it's putting on great shows at certain racetracks.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
As a fan yourself, do you like enjoy pushing that content out? Like as you're getting the film ready, you're like, man, what an amazing save or something like that. And just having fun with it as you're going.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I had that moment. I'm trying to think of Martinsville. Martinsville was the moment I had where I think it was Denny got into the back of Ryan Blaney and Blaney made a ridiculous save. And I was just like, holy crap, that was an unreal save. And I really hope that people agree with me, you know? It's one of those things like, if I'm like, whoa, that was incredible. And I'll go and check and it'll have like 2K likes on Instagram. I'm like, oh, well, that's not great. People must not agree with that. But then in that case, a lot of people were like, oh, holy cow. And I even bless Ryan Blaney's social media manager, because in the middle of the race, I invited him to collab on Instagram on that highlight. And within a minute, he accepted it. So clearly Ryan Blaney has a social media person who saw that and accepted it, because it most certainly spiked our engagement for sure in that moment as well.
Well, that always helps.
Oh yeah. How closely do you work with like the drivers' social media managers? Like how do those relationships work out to help you guys?
Sure. I think a lot of the social media managers will work together if someone wins a race. Honestly, I know if it's a Stuart Haas person who wins a race, I know within a minute I'm getting an email from their group of comms people saying like, hey, like invite us to collab on whatever, we'll accept whatever. I'm like, that's great. And Hendrick does a great job. They'll sometimes send us like the paint scheme 30 minutes or so before they actually unveil it, so that we can maybe design something and join in tandem to promote it. A lot of these teams have generally been really good with that. It's I would say it's probably more challenging when it's not our half of the season. But I think that the fact that I've been within the NASCAR and NBC portal for the last 7 years, along with running IndyCar, helping with Olympics, helping with NBC Sports, I think that consistency and having it there definitely helps them know, hey, if there's this really cool unveil that's going to be coming in a few minutes, we should send it to Ryan.
That makes sense.
I was gonna say, if I could, I have a two-part question. Number one, let's just say from this past year, have you traveled to any races yourself?
Yeah, I was at the NASCAR championship.
Okay.
I was at the Indy 500. I was going to be at the IndyCar championship, but we had some last minute plans change. IndyCar Media Day at the start of the year, so like IndyCar Media Day, and then they had the test at Thermal. And just to reiterate that my role isn't necessarily just strictly motorsports. Around this time last year, I was at the PNC Championship for golf, following Tiger Woods, asking them, like, we had the Tiny Mike type stuff. So I asked, it was the week before Christmas, I want to say. So we were asking like Tiger Woods, John Daly, like Annika Sorenstam, like, what's your all-time favorite Christmas movie? Or honestly, the return of Simone Biles at the Core Hydration Gymnastics Classic. That was one of those things where she announced that she was coming back, and it was happening in like a week or two. And my coworker, bless her heart, was on like vacation for a Greek wedding. So she was literally in Greece. She already had that planned out, and was like, can you go? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Like, we can plan it out. And I think it was Michigan weekend. So I just planned out, gave all the notes beforehand. And literally as I'm flying home, we had someone else filling in with the account, and they knew everything that to prepare for or watch for. And they did a phenomenal job. And so while I was following Simone Biles and like Jordan Childs around, we were all set. It's a well-oiled machine. And I think we've just had some new additions at the company who are all bringing creative energy within the past. I think both of them joined within like the last month or so, and they're both already bringing in this creative energy. So it's just really encouraging right now.
Awesome. And I was going to say, and the second part is, what was that moment like the first time you walked into a racetrack working, getting paid to go there and cover a race? Because I know walking into Daytona for the first time for me got me choked up pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I don't know if I necessarily felt it 2014, that first year, just because we were doing a Spike documentary for Dale Senior, 2014, and it started in like the campgrounds, and we were just out there. And by the time I actually got to the track, I was kind of cooked. But the first time that I worked a live event for NBC was actually the NASCAR championship in 2017. So I was in Homestead walking into the track, and that was a huge moment for me. And then a few years ago was going to the Indy 500 for the first time and going to the actual speedway. And like, I'll be honest, I wasn't as diehard of an IndyCar racing fan as I was a NASCAR fan growing up. I think I followed it. I knew who the Elios, who Kanan, who Sam Hornish. I was a huge Dan Weldon fan, I would say. But given the choice between the two at the time as a kid, it was NASCAR for me. Like, if they were competing in the same time slot, I would watch racing. But just getting to go to Indy, seeing the pagoda for the first time, getting to see the bricks, that was just a huge moment. And fun fact about me, I haven't actually been to Daytona yet. So when that moment hits, that's going to hit me like a ton of bricks, I'm sure. And I used to live not too far away from North Wilkesboro. When I was working for NASCAR, I was like a town or two over. And so I walked that track when it was left for dead. It was the only person who was really, they only had the one. I saw he recently passed away, but I I forget it, Paul, I forget his last name, but anyway, just the caretaker of the track, and that was it. And I did not think that there would ever be racing there again. And so that's on my list. And even though it is a Fox race, or well, we don't know going beyond, but we don't also know the 2025 schedule yet, right? So we shall see. But if we are so fortunate to have North Wilkesboro on our list of races, I'm going to shift that very high up in the priority, because that'll be just because it was the track that Labonte was racing on when I first became a racing fan, and it's a track that I would drive by on my way to work consistently. So it's just that would be a really cool track for me to go see and see come to life again, you know?
Yeah, that would be such a cool, like, full circle moment. I think when you can have those in your career, it makes the job that you do so much more rewarding. So I hope you're able to get to Daytona, North Wilkesboro. That'd be so awesome. I did have one more question for you, and
Sure.
kind of revolves around the future of the sport. I think, and just from who I work with as well behind the scenes, there are a lot of young drivers that are trying to make their way to the top levels, and a lot of them have social media accounts. And I think there's a lot of athletes too that maybe underutilize the importance of social media, underutilize those accounts, underutilize, or don't fully appreciate the relationship that they can have with media. So as a media member yourself, or I guess working with social media, NBC Sports, you know, what message would you want to convey to athletes or even young athletes on the importance of a relationship with the media and how important that is to their careers?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important for the actual media members to have a good relationship with them. They can't necessarily be buddy with everybody, but I do think, especially if it was specifically a NASCAR employee or a broadcaster employee, I think that especially for me, every single time that I'm doing the tiny mic type stuff, I'm always approaching them as like, hey, I'm Ryan with NBC Sports. I had like 2 or 3 rapid fire questions. Do you mind if I ask him? 9, almost 10 times out of 10, they're like, yeah, sure, fire away. And that's great. It's there are times where I'll see someone and I'll look at the copy and it'll feel like it won't feel authentic. It'll feel like it was written by a sponsor. And if the sponsor's paying them, then they're making their money, make that bank. But there's also those moments that showcase a driver's personality that as a broadcaster or as NBC, you're looking for. You look at, I look back at some of our top posts for the entirety of the year, and one of our top ones, even though Ricky Stenhouse Jr. probably isn't the most I mean, we just proved it. He's not the most popular driver in NASCAR, but his moment where he walks in with the Daytona 500 trophy into a Waffle House, that's authenticity like personified. We posted that on not just the NASCAR pages, but we're posting that on NBC, on the NBC Sports social pages, because that transcends the sport. It's really a cool way to promote this driver just being an average guy, like a way to connect to these people. And I think it's just vital to showcase those moments. And without Ricky posting, or I forget if it was Ricky or Madison who actually posted it originally, but either way, without that personality or being posted on social media, NASCAR and NBC Sports and NASCAR and NBC have no real way of knowing that moment happened. And you saw how many times that got picked up by, I think ESPN was actually posting that moment as well, just because of how cool that moment was. And that's one of many that we see. And I think the more we can, sometimes I think that it's okay to have like a little bit of curtain around you, you know? I don't think that it's necessary to always be posting something on social media if you're a driver or your race team, like every single moment, because you don't want to be having your fans just like go on your Instagram story and see the like your Instagram story, you know how they have the little white line, like have it look like just little tiny
just be so much.
Yeah, so much. There's it's a fine balance, and I think that just ways that they can show their personality. I think that there are definitely some teams that have done it really, really well. I'm liking lately what Joe Gibbs Racing has been doing, and Arrow McLaren with their usage of Tiny Mike, and then just kind of Trackhouse really breaking the mold. Everything that they've been doing. Those are three. Stuart Haas with their series, with everything that Jess and everybody on their team have been absolutely crushing it. From a race team perspective, that's stuff that we're gonna, as a broadcast partner, we're gonna look at and be like, this is something that we want to share. It might not be something that we necessarily produced, but it's something that we think is really cool, and it's something that really fans can connect with. And that's the number one thing that I'm trying to do across all sports, is find a way for the fan to connect with these athletes. It's vital for the Olympics. And I'm sorry if I go on a tangent, but like we have this with the Olympics where these athletes have actually started to approach us, right? Where they're like, hey, we want to help build our brand, so that we're not just a once every 4 year in front of, we're not just in front of an audience once every 4 years, right? Every 4 years, every summer, right? Like they want to build their brand so that they are getting those shares, so that people already have that name and that brand recognition. Because I think athletes are, in a weird way, their own brand. Like everybody like looks at Michael Phelps or a Shaun White and they know like right away what they do, right? That's something that across all sports we want to get to, and I think it's continuing to evolve.
And I think Alex in the comments said it best. The NBC accounts are the best at showcasing personalities, the hard work. Ryan's talking about, definitely we recognize that work that you all do behind the scenes to give us those personalities and to give us the great covers that you do. So, Ryan, I appreciate you joining us and giving us all that insight. Definitely, you're welcome to come back whenever. We appreciated your time, and wish you the best closing out this season of sports, and looking forward to what you all do in 2024.
Thank you so much. And I appreciate you letting me take that brief moment to get that news out about the most popular driver. You got to see it in real time. So thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. I'd be happy to join another time.
Awesome. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
Awesome. That's always good to like have other people from within the industry, and even too outside of NASCAR, just talking about what they do. And I think with the new TV deal, the way media is going in the sport, it was such a good time to have Ryan on and just kind of discussing. Also, good to have another Terry Labonte fan as well. I didn't know that about him, so I was like, "Hey, we got to talk now." Got all my diecast. So, again, thanks for Ryan for joining. I'm going to bring Adam in right now. Our good friend Adam in the wings. What's going on, Adam?
Good evening, ATYL folks. How we doing?
We're doing good. Good to see you. I figured we would talk about some NASCAR news now. I think the first thing I want to talk about, and I think, Ben, you had probably one of the most, not the biggest reaction when we were talking off screen about this, but the new Toyota body. I think this is something I would want to discuss. The new Camry XSE. I wish I should have had a picture of this, so I apologize to you all in advance, but just kind of initial thoughts on the look of the car, what we think it will do. Ben, I don't know if you had any initial thoughts there.
It looks like if you asked a 4-year-old to draw a race car. Yeah, and that's all I have to say on it. It just doesn't look good. Here, I sent a photo.
I just got it. I got you. We're gonna share the screen because y'all need to see this.
This
Oh,
is not.
or we got Dom.
We
We
got
got
Dom.
this. Yeah. Yeah.
I just don't. I'm not. I ain't about that life, dog. Not for me. I think it like. I'll be interested to see what designers can do with it. But it's just.
There.
It's not the. I don't like the grill. Like it just looks goofy. I think.
It's very flat.
Someone made the
Like-
comment of it looks like Lara Croft from the original Tomb Raider, which I had to giggle at because as a gamer. So that was the thing that I laughed at, but not a fan.
So I'll
Yeah.
say, or go ahead, Adam.
I don't like it. It just looks weird. I don't like it. It doesn't look as fierce and as mean as the previous
Current.
Camry. It just,
Adam, who are you rooting for tonight? Seahawks to be on.
I wonder.
Now, I'll say it looks like the Avalon. It looks like the Corolla.
Yes.
It has hints
Oh
of the
yeah.
So
It
is falling in line with the they want to have. So
It is.
I will spare it because it just falls in line with brand identity.
Yes.
Personally, loved the Camry of the past from 17 through 23. That Camry was red hot. It looks good. It looks like a Toyota is the way I would say it. It looks like a Toyota.
This reminds me of.
We were
Sorry.
blessed with an amazingly good looking Camry the last couple of years where it didn't look like a Camry. It looked like a sports car. But yeah, this one, it looks like a Toyota. So I spare it with that.
This reminds me.
I like a Supra. I think a Supra should be in the Cup Series.
And now
Badass.
here's my counter to that. The reason why I'm glad it's not the Supra, and I was afraid it was going to be, is because you're putting a very small 2-door sports car on a 4-door sedan body. And it doesn't look good in the Xfinity series. If you're looking at it straight on and all you can see is the nose, hell yeah, the Xfinity car looks great. But you turn it to the side and you're like, that's not a Supra. Yeah, last I checked, the actual Supra doesn't have perfectly straight rectangular rear bumpers. So that's my only beef with that. I mean, the nose looks great. That's about it. So I'm glad it's still the Camry, because that the Camry has been from day one and always will be the Toyota Cup car.
It reminds me of those like 2000 Celicas. I don't know if anyone's going to get what I'm referencing.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah, like
Yep.
the early
Yeah.
like when Toyota relaunched the Celicas and they had the point nose in the front where the bumper is like a backwards flat angle. It reminds me of that. Like you said though, this is the way, like it's what a Toyota looks like on the streets right now. So I'm fine with it. Like they did the same thing where they updated the grill on the it's not the Tacoma, it's the Tundra in the truck series. So it's what they do. Because it was funny. I was thinking about this. I think it was yesterday. I was driving around town, and I passed a white Camry that 2013, 2014, one of the older ones. Looks like an ARCA car now. And I was like, oh hey, that looks like it was a white Camry. And I was like, oh, it looks like Jesse loves ARCA. Like my brain was like, Jesse loves ARCA car because it's a white car. So like they're good at that. Like I would argue out of Toyota, Chevy, and Ford, I would say honestly that the Toyotas have always looked like the street car more so than the Fords and the Chevys, but just not for me, dog.
I mean, it goes back to the idea, like you guys said, and I want to share this here because this is like the 2025 Camry model here, but it goes back to the idea of you race on Sunday, shop on Monday, like that comparison there. So yeah, I will say, like at first I was kind of stoked, but I'm also kind of like, it kind of looks gross.
I'd have to see like an actual design on it. Like give me Joe Gibbs Toyotas and we'll see what they look like, and then I'll fill.
Give me the interstate battery scheme, and then we'll talk. Like
with
let's see how that looks. Yes.
I said this to Matt too, because Matt Deason made a good point too. If you look at the Cup body, this thing's gonna push like crazy on super speedways.
Yeah.
That is a flat nose.
It's gonna eat, brother.
That thing is gonna push like crazy.
The supreme pusher.
Yeah. I mean, that seems like the overall, not the overall intent, because if you even look at like the back part of this car too, like I'm on the right tab. Yeah. If you look at the back part of the car too, I mean, some of the like back of the car is flat as well. It's a little bit more of a flat design than it is like a round rounder design, I guess, if that makes any sense. Yeah. So like this part of the cart, like it feels a lot flatter. But
hey, Kentucky tag. That's cool.
No, the license plate is Kentucky.
Yeah. I was like,
they're built in Georgetown. They're built like 30 minutes from my house.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
That's cool. I didn't know that was on there. That's sweet.
I was like, when I first looked at these photos, I was like, why is there a Kentucky license plate? And then I researched, I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So
Camry's built in Georgetown, Tacomas and Tundras, or I think at least the Tundra is built in Texas. Like, Kentucky pride right there. So it's one of those, like, I kind of got to root for it, but also like, it looks not good in my opinion.
That's fair. That's fair. Now it doesn't look the best, but no, it should be a menace at super speedways. So I'm looking forward to that. Should be a fun time, but we'll move on. I think I just wanted to note very quickly, because this could impact the beginning of the season, but during the off season, 2 Cup drivers that had some type of surgery. I know Elliott had some surgery, whether it be wrist, hand, something like that. But notably, Denny Hamlin, he had surgery on his right shoulder to repair what was said to be a bone spur and tendon damage. He shared that it was a more intrusive surgery than originally anticipated. There was a recovery period of 3 to 4 weeks, but it's taking longer than expected. With that said, he shared with the media today, there's question as to if he's going to be back in time for the Clash. So just keep that in the back of your minds, just moving forward. But with that said, the TV deal, I feel like we talked about it a little bit with Ryan, obviously, but the 4 of us just kind of wanted to get our initial thoughts as to how this maybe impacts fans, what we think about this. I guess there's a lot to it. We have obviously NBC Sports and Fox coming back. Fox is getting the first 14 races of the season. NBC is getting the last 14 races. And in between, we have a streaming type of program here. It starts off, correct me if I'm wrong, it's Amazon Prime begins. And then with 5 races. And then there's 5 races with the Warner Brothers Discovery, like TNT and all those things with their package there. So we have streaming in the middle, but then to try to sandwich things, we're back with our good old NBC and Fox. So thoughts about this? I know there's a lot more details that I'm leaving out right now. If you want more details, I have a video up on this YouTube channel, Facebook page right now that dives a lot deeper into this. But Adam, I guess I'll start with you. Do you have initial thoughts about this deal and kind of how it looks?
Well, I like it. I think it's good to get to a new audience, especially with streaming becoming the new type of viewing for the world. But it wasn't even announced this week. It was really announced last, I believe, summer. I kind of forgot Xfinity was going to be on CW exclusively.
Yeah.
So they're going to have their own exclusive home for an entire season, which is really, I think, great to have that for their audience. But for the current deal that was announced, I'm in favor for it. I don't have the is it Discovery or Max or whatever?
So it'll air on Max. It'll be simulcast on Max as well as TNT. Yes, it'll be the same broadcast. They do with the NHL platforms. Right now.
I just hope whoever they get to be in the television booths for those races, they better knock it out of the park.
Oh, they have to.
There's so many good candidates that you can either bring in new or bring in old. If you catch my drift, thank you.
I'll say it for you.
We're putting it into the universe.
Here's my thing though. Like, will he be too busy with SRX since it's a summer thing? Like, do we like, you know my thing? Like, I don't know. Will he want back? I don't know. But I want him back.
What?
SRX.
With what?
Fair.
Thank you. I made my point.
Fair.
I was going to say, I feel like a NASCAR deal might give you a little bit more bang for your buck.
Yeah.
But listen, all I can say, just give me Wally Dallenbach and Kyle Petty in the TNT booth. And as Haberina said, every race has to start with TNT by AC/DC mixed with highlights. I need it. I need it back.
Inject that into our veins.
Adam, the summer series is back.
Oh, it's back, baby.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I think
gotta have Wally's World, gotta have Larry McReynolds as a pit reporter for TNT.
Yes.
That's all we need.
Let's get Larry officially back in the booth for the summer.
Good do.
Hey, I'd be a fan of that.
He seems pretty committed to Fox.
Yeah.
But
Alex brings up a good point here. So, I mean, obviously, we don't know what everything looks like for 2025, the NASCAR schedule, but the Athletic reporting that it's expected that Amazon's first race could be the Coke 600. Personally,
Ooh.
I'm hesitant on that. That's a very big race that you're Ben.
I have a kind of monologue that I would like to go on about this TV deal in general, and as well as Alex's point. So,
do you want the floor? Do you want
sure,
the
if
floor?
you want to give it to me, it's whatever you want to do. You're a grown woman. This is your show. I'm just a peasant in your creation. Oh, I apologize for the model mess on the floor. So if you go to Amazon.com right now on anything or the app, the first thing they promote, the first thing that pops up is not your orders. It is literally their Thursday night football broadcast right now.
That is true.
Of the Seahawks and whoever the Seahawks are playing. I'm not. I think that's
Cowboys.
Thank you. I can't say that word. Screw the Cowboys. I almost said a bad word. Cowboys suck.
You can say it. You can say it.
I'm not going to say it. I don't want to put dollar square jar. That's a really bad word.
Be careful.
But, so here's the thing with Amazon. They're an interesting group. I talked about them in several media classes that I took at UK. They're weird in how they do production, in that they have their own streaming shows, but they don't necessarily care about them because it's not their main point of profit. Their main point of profit is selling you crap through Prime, like selling you whatever you want and getting it there in 2 days. The TV stuff is a nice bonus, and sure, if they can bring in extra revenue, that's awesome. And obviously, this is a 7-year deal, so they're committed to this. That's where some of my hesitancy holds up with Amazon. I'm also, like I said, I'm watching their broadcast. Like I was just curious, and I pulled up the Amazon website, and the first thing that popped up was a broadcast. I'm watching it right now. I'm not going to lie, I don't know any of the people on the broadcast. I'm also not the major NFL fan. So
okay, so to cover for you, yeah, they're two very prominent people. And the one thing I will add to that with their broadcast of the NFL, one thing I've noticed is that they keep their crowd noise very quiet. So almost the only thing you can hear is the announcers and maybe the play. So it's almost as if there's no one in the stadium.
There's also a cool thing they do with their Thursday night football deal where you can watch the regular broadcast or you can watch the next gen stats. So I wonder if they're going to incorporate that with NASCAR.
That's what I was going to get to, as well as they have a ton of money they can dump into this, and clearly they're going to dump in some. Yeah. Whether it's talent, whether it's a next-gen style broadcast, whether it's maybe it's like the old DirecTV days where you can select the driver and follow their on-car camera for the entire race.
That would be so awesome.
Amazon, I feel like, is a big question mark in this, and I'm interested to see what they do overall. That's part one of my monologue, but go ahead, Taylor, interrupt me.
I was going to say, for like 1 second, Amazon practice and qualifying, kind of a facelift in my opinion. Amazon's taking over the first 19 races of practice and qualifying, while the Warner Brothers Discovery deal, all of that combined is taking over the second half of the season with those 19 races of practice and qualifying. Heads up, Ben, you have the floor again.
No, you're good. Please interrupt me and tell me to shut up at any point in time. Part two to this monologue is the Discovery, HBO Max, TNT side of it. You don't have to make me big. It makes me feel weird. It just makes me
more, Dr. Brent.
I'm not a doctor, but apparently I'm a doctor.
Please talk, Mr. Colonel.
So I'm not the biggest Max fan. They've kind of done stuff like Discovery, Warner Brothers have done some stuff in the past that have been really shady to people that have created content that are on that platform. You can look it up. There's plenty of it.
Yes.
They're known to just kill movies for tax write-offs, which I'm always frustrated with someone who
I have one big gripe with that, but continue. Yes.
But I will say, to credit where it's due, I think probably the biggest W in recent sports broadcasting is when the NHL moved back to TNT.
Yeah.
Because they act like I used to not give a crap about NHL on NBC. I used to not give a crap at all. Like they had Jeremy Roenick in there, and he's his own thing, and they had Mike Milbury and Keith Jones and Liam McHugh or whatever his name is, and it sucked. But now, like, they've got. This is what gives me hope for their side of it. And this is why I think personally, Alan Best would go with the TNT side as to the Amazon side per se, depending upon the cash, obviously. Like TNT, they make it fun. They've got Paul Bissonnette in there. They've got Wayne Gretzky, and they're cracking jokes. And Paul, for those of you who don't know, Paul Bissonnette was a goon. He never really did anything with his career, but he makes jokes and runs a podcast. Like, they're having fun. Like, they're giggling around. They're goofing around. They're talking over each other all the time. It feels like I'm at a sports bar watching NHL with 4 random dudes that are having a good time. So the Discovery / TNT side of it, I'm very optimistic for.
And like just to add to that as well, before the match of the night, whatever, like they have a full, to compare to the NFL, because I know a lot of people watch the NFL, they have like a full episode of NFL Countdown before the game actually started.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They'd only do a full 30
normally
minutes.
for like NBC, you would get maybe a half-hour show or maybe like a 10-minute pregame right before they drop the puck. But like, they have like a full hour show, maybe longer. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like right before puck drop, where they give you like the whole landscape of the league. In case you haven't been watching, you just wanted to tune in to watch Sidney Crosby or Alex Ovechkin.
Yeah, like it's a whole thing. And the last part that I will go on with is the CW deal with Xfinity. And this is something I didn't realize until like 2 weeks ago. I was sitting at home and I saw an ad for the CW teaming up with the ACC, and they're going to show ACC games like men's basketball, which is, while not like as big as the SEC, which I'm in, is huge. That's a huge conference.
Big deal.
Like I'd say second or third in the nation.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that they were doing that. And so we're kind of seeing the CW go through this rebrand in a lot of ways. And it used to just be kind of a dumping ground for daytime television and Riverdale or Supergirl or
Flash,
Jane the Virgin or whatever shows. So it's,
Remember
I'm interested to see
Smallville?
Yeah, I remember.
Oh, I love Smallville.
What's his face from Dukes of Hazzard? Was it? Or no, that was Smallville. I can't remember.
Yeah, John Schneider.
Anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent that I don't need to be on right now. I'm interested to see how that goes because I think they could do really great things with it. That is my TED Talk. I apologize to Alex for the mess on the floor. It'll be built at some point. So
that's awesome. I agree with pretty much everything you said. I mean, I'm looking forward to the potential that this has. I think right now it's like, okay, there's a lot in the works. It's like too many cooks in the kitchen. It's figuring out where everything goes, and everyone's got to figure that out. Even like with Ryan mentioned, he's like, we have a year to figure out things on the social side, what that looks like. So, having this deal locked in now, I know they wanted it to be locked in like over the summer, but we still have plenty of time for everyone to figure out their roles. And especially with the new NASCAR production center that's being put in place, I think that's already just on the NASCAR side of things is going to amplify things 100%, which I think that's opening in like the next few weeks. So Dom.
I will add.
You guys are raising your hands now.
I will add, well, I'm delayed apparently, so I'm just making sure I don't mess up. I'll say for the CW side, Taylor, you can probably relate to this. I don't know how much work you did with Bowling Green Sports, but like again, NASCAR Productions is running that whole deal on the CW side. But back when I was at YSU, our games, not races, what am I saying? Our games were on ESPN3 and ESPN Plus.
Yeah.
It's like, that's a big platform, but all it was is
deal.
we just got the equipment and they said, we'll give you the platform if you can run the show.
The best feeling on the planet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it was at BG is we, because I interned.
ESPN flag mic, like I made it
because it's like you have the ESPN name and everything like that, but it's your school, your team, everyone is putting together the production basically for ESPN, and you got the mic and you're like, hey, I'm on ESPN, though it's like Bowling Green, WBG, whatever.
Yeah,
so
I think
what UK does.
Things can go well for the CW. Like, don't think like this is the CW just being like we're bringing in an entirely new staff of sports people. Like it's NASCAR's running the show. CW said, we'll give you the platform. We can use the views. So there you go.
Yeah,
it's a win-win.
Yeah. So then it also brings in the question too of like, I mean, obviously for the CW, you're going to probably have different people in the booth. I mean, my question goes to like, okay, well, are they going to have different people in the booth, or are they just going to pull from NBC? But then there's the contract situation, so we don't know. We're just going to wait and see until they announce who's in the booth to figure that out. But I think Alex brought up a good point. What was this? Where was this? Kurt Busch and or Jamie McMurray on one of those in the booth would be excellent for parts of those deals. I think Jamie McMurray would be pretty good. I loved when he was in the booth. I think Kurt does great in the truck series when he's in the booth for that. So I like those choices. I do.
So I don't expect CW to pull from NBC or Fox because they're owned by Paramount, which is the CBS parent company.
That's a good point.
So I'd be shocked if they did that. So they're probably going to get their own team together.
Yeah, come on.
That may be.
You should know this.
Well, I guess, okay.
Yeah. Bonus points if you know who Next Star Media is for the kids out there at home.
I guess then to that point too, because if Alan is with SRX, that's affiliated with CBS, right? I mean, that's a bet.
They're with ESPN.
Oh, crap, that's right. See,
so
this is the thing with SRX.
Technically, then it's a perfect softball over to the TNT side because ESPN and the TNT, like it's a softball over there. So
I promise you guys.
I don't know if it's still the same, but back when it was Fox, TNT, and ESPN, a lot of the Fox guys went over to TNT.
Yeah.
It was Larry Yoakum.
Was there.
Chris Devoted did some stuff, I think, at one point.
So
if work at my TV station,
obviously, like companies change like allegiances all the time.
Yeah.
So it could be different now, but they're all at war. There's no allies.
Everyone's at war. I think.
Hold on. He said they're not cats and dogs. He said they're not cats and dogs.
That's the thing. Like, it's everyone's at war. You're all fighting for like the same views, etc. But like to make this successful, you have to work as a team. Like, I mean, the media world is cutthroat, regardless of where you're at. But yeah, I will say too. I swear I watched SRX this season. I totally did. It just was like, wow, it happened and it was gone. Yeah, really.
I was in the hospital for part of it, and it still wasn't real.
You were. So, anywho, we will move on from the TV deal discussion. We will go on to the last talking point of the evening, which is the stage.
Bringing back the Busch series. What?
Oh, well,
let's go nostalgic.
It's real because it's true.
2006.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Taylor.
Sorry, what?
You're good. By the way, yeah. Again, at some point this off season, we will have a Busch series show that because it has to happen.
Jeff Green, baby.
It up. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the behind the scenes, and we'll make sure it happens before we go racing at Daytona again in February. But the Stage 60 thing, RFK Racing announced that they're fielding a third car, the 500, with David Reagan at the helm, and the Stage 60 car, the number 60. It's just the beginning of a bigger project that they have in mind. They're planning on running that car for more races in 2024. We don't know who's going to be driving those races, what races those are, but think of it as the Project 91 thing. Everyone's piggybacking off of the brilliant idea of Trackhouse Racing, and I'm here for it. I love it. But yeah, so I guess we had some questions too. I hope, did I save it? I don't think I saved it, but somebody asked, how do we think David Reagan's going to do? Thought processes behind this. I mean, Ben, I'm with you, bud. I'm with you, dude.
Like we all shrugged. I think
that's about it.
Yeah, he'll make it.
He'll be in the show. He'll run top 20. He'll maybe get a top 10 or maybe a top 5, and then we'll move on with our lives.
Give him that.
Yeah, the car looked great.
Good looking submarine.
Yeah, buildsubmarines.com.
I like seeing the number 60 Roush car back in Cup.
Makes me happy.
Yeah.
As a Mark Martin kid, that makes me happy.
Who is the target audience for buildsubmarines.com? Like, in the top 1% afford a submarine?
I mean, not even that, judging by this past summer. Sorry, I had to make it.
Bless America, dude.
I'll put $1 in the swear jar for that one, even though it wasn't a swear.
I respected that though. That was good. That was funny. It was good.
Good looking car. It's Keselowski's car. I like the new Ford body so far. That's I think the first actual paint scheme we've seen on it. So
look good. Does look very good.
It has the eyebrows too.
I saw the car in person too in Orlando, and the Cup car does compare pretty equally to it in terms of image.
Oh, I'm with Alex.
Also, wrap your side skirts, kids. Wrap them. It's not that hard.
I don't know. I mean, you got that giant. I mean, you got that pipe right underneath the number, and
that's fair.
To destroy whatever's next to it.
Hey, JTG Doherty, how much crap I give them, they wrap their side skirts mostly, and I like it. I appreciate it.
That's fair.
Yeah, it'll be fine. I like the big. I'm gonna say it. And I'll put $1 in. I like the big ass hood logo. I'm all about that.
Yeah.
Hey, that's fine.
That cool.
I think you're doing your partners justice when you have a big logo like that on the hood.
Yes, that's good stuff.
Everything looks great on this. Again, another RFK banger. They've not had a paint scheme that I've disliked this season, and I guess now next season as well. So, props.
It would be really cool though.
What?
If we get cousin Carl back to Roush.
I want that.
Just quit bringing it up. It ain't happening.
Everyone thought it was him.
It would be so cool.
Let the boy live his life.
It would be so cool. Let the man live in his bunker. I know. But
Taylor, I have a rebuttal.
I do agree with Alex, though. That'd be great to see Biffle get a run in the 60s.
Yeah, I agree. You have a rebuttal, Ben.
I have a rebuttal.
Is this dissing RFK?
The next light Ford that he ran at Michigan, that thing is not good looking. It's like pink and yellow, and
next Lizette.
It looks great.
Next Lizette, thank you.
He ran that at the 500 last year too.
Yeah, I love that scheme.
Also, I'm gonna be honest. I think the Guardians of the Galaxy scheme was kind of just mid.
I think an underappreciated car was Buescher's Pala Casino car with the chrome pink numbers.
Yes.
Okay, which one though?
Good.
Auto Club.
Auto Club.
Hold on, I gotta pull it up.
Pull it up. Come on.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I can only type so fast under pressure.
We love.
I showed on my phone, but I'm using my phone.
That's okay.
That's okay.
Oh yeah, that one's good. There was another one that they like did a render for that looks nothing like that car though, which I
yeah.
There's like they did the black render. There's a black and orange one that I loved, and then they did this new one, and I was like, why did we?
Yeah,
change
that's fair.
So
Who
Anywho.
said no to
Lost
this?
yeah. So
I mean, I'm excited about that. It's yet another car that can field some interesting drivers. You could have some good collaborations. I would like to see. I
Mark
mean,
Martin.
I think
I was just
Yeah.
gonna say that.
give me Mark, man. Give me Mark. And that's
Bring Mark
64
back.
for one race. I don't
Hey,
care what happens. Give
Could
me
you
Mark.
imagine if he attempted Wilkesboro
Dude, I would.
Oh my
in the
God.
60s?
I would
dude.
skip work. I don't know my boss. I would skip work to go watch
Yeah.
Mark Martin.
Dixie is
Wilkesboro.
still a company. We could throw
Yeah.
Win Dixie on that 60 car.
We
and
could.
Dude,
Oh my
that's the
God.
throwback.
Hey,
Like that's when you
it's all
have to
about
run
the
to Darlington.
Brings back
Yeah.
that beef cattle car. Oh yeah.
If he wants to
Oh,
run
man.
Darlington, could do the throwback
Mm.
race.
Yeah.
it.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
Alex said
possibilities
Greg
are
Biffle.
endless.
So
Yeah.
I love
Wait.
how we're just
Great.
running through the Roush alumni to
We
see
are.
who can still
But,
Todd
like-
Cleaver.
There are possibilities.
063M. Let's go.
McMurray. McMurray
Oh,
could
yeah.
run it.
Oh, I think
Yeah.
he'd do it.
The
He
Dish
definitely
Network
probably
number
would.
60.
Or the
Ugh.
remember the
lot.
stuff. Hey Dom, here's a car for you. The stuffed Oreos number 26.
he leaves the room.
Oh
That's
my
not fair.
God.
Oh, what a fever dream.
Trevor
Could you
Bain.
imagine?
Hey,
Ricky
we
versus
know
Trevor,
Mark Martin's going to be
number
really
60.
like
You-
older in January.
Okay,
we
but
know.
Mark Martin's in better shape
But
than most
still.
of America still.
That's right. Trevor Bain.
Martin
Morgan
is
Shepherd was
America.
racing into his 70s.
That's very true. Yeah, Trevor Bain would be
could
one
run
I
the
could
all-white,
see.
the all-white
Yeah.
number 60, Ricky versus Trevor.com on the side.
Never forget.
Good. Yeah. Interesting.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. I forgot about that point.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't know. I'm excited. It should be good. Again, it's more opportunities to get whether it's legacy drivers, new drivers, international drivers into the sport, expanding our reach, and even to like just the nostalgic fans, just giving them something to latch
Mhm.
onto as well as we keep moving into the future. So I'm excited about it. I think it's good. But yeah, I think that's everything. In case you missed it too, just a reminder that most popular driver winners, Chase Elliott, Justin Allgaier, and Haley Deegan, in case you missed it. So there's that. But we're going to end it here for tonight, the ATYL live stream. We appreciate you all joining us. I know.
Would you?
So
We need to do a
sad. But
24-hour live stream at some point.
hey, we
24
almost
hours
did with the
before.
Daytona race last year. Oh,
do
We'll
it.
watch
Let's
the
do it.
Rolex together. Flag to flag.
Dude, yeah.
honestly.
All 24 glorious hours. Yes.
I'll do
But
it.
I don't know. We might do it someday. But I mean, in the meantime, keeping up with us and TobyChristie.com. Again, if you are watching the Snowball Derby this weekend, that's on Racing America. Make sure to give that a watch. It should be a really good one. Lots of good competition in that. Even the Snowflake on Saturday. So give it a watch. Of course, too, for more about us, us as individuals, what ABC, not ABC, oh my God, Above the Old Line does. I'm all over the place right now. Visit
Disney bought
AboveTheOldLine.com.
us out.
Disney bought us out. They really did. That's the
Maybe
deal that you
boys.
guys just don't know about yet, but I teased it. Just kidding. But yeah, getting your ATYL merch before the holidays if you want that. So AboveTheYellowLine.com. And obviously, we're still releasing weekly episodes. Sometimes we'll be on your podcasting platforms, but the best way to find us is on the Toby Christie.com YouTube and Facebook pages. But you guys, thanks so much. Follow us all on socials. Our social media handles are Adam on the screen for you all here. But
There it is.
great to see you all. And we'll see you, next week? Yeah, we'll be back next week.
Sure.
We may have a guest. We'll figure it out. Just stay tuned and learn more. Turn on the notification bell, subscribe. We love you all. Thanks so much for joining us tonight, and we'll see you later. Bye.